but he's tall. He's 6'3", and he has long arms. Run around like he doing his fight.
He struggled against Jeff Neal, and then he got outstruck by MVP, which I know is a different style of striking.
He has a chance if he can stuff Shavkat's takedowns. That's what I'm saying. If there was a world where Shavkat can't take him down, because we have seen Shavkat struggle taking opponents down in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's not like his wrestling is like Kamzat, to where every person Kamzat fight against, he takes him down.
All right, welcome back to another one. We got a UFC 310 preview. Well, we're going to go ahead and dive right into it, man. Let's look at the main event first. We got Pantoja fighting Asakura in the main event. They really probably could have put Shavkat and Ian Garry in the main event. I'll be honest here. Because for some reason, I know Pantoja gonna have a fun fight, but the Asakura guy, he got a few recent losses that just make me...
Yeah, he don't really get pumped up and excited to see, man. Yeah, because we know how this fight gonna end, man. It's gonna be...
Yeah, Alexandre gonna have a fun, exciting decision win. It's going to be very scrappy and back and forth, and Kai's going to have moments, but he's never going to be able to actually capitalize on anything. And then Pantoja knows how to win decisions in the UFC, and he's super dangerous on the ground, and he can actually submit you. So, hey, is Kai prone to getting submitted? Can we look at this real quick? Because if I see one submission loss in the last 2 years, I already know what I'm thinking about this. We got a decision loss. Oh, that's enough. That's
lost to Manel Cop. Yeah, there's different levels to this, man.
Yeah, and Manel can't even get to a title fight. So,
man, yeah,
as good as he is. So, yeah, Alexandre by decision. Then, this the real main event. Shavkat versus Ian Garry. So, no more Joaquin Buckley versus Ian Garry. Ian gonna step in versus Shavkat. Man, looking at the way Ian had to fight MVP, and he still struggled and arguably lost. A lot of people feel like he lost that fight. A lot of people feel like Ian Garry lost the Jeff Neal fight. Shavkat definitely should win. How you think this fight playing out? And I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but me and you talked about this last night. Ian Garry, he got a lot of opponents that were handmade for him, because a lot of his opponents were decent fighters. They were always missing something, right? The Gabe Greens, the Darian Weeks, the Jeff Neals, the Daniel Rodriguez's. These guys have been, now that's a range of low to mid to, low to high mid tier fighters, but they just never been able to cross a certain hurdle, right? They haven't been able to get past a certain point. And there's clear things that you could exploit about all of them. Even Jeff Neal fought a great fight. He just didn't pull the trigger enough and kind of gave that fight to Ian Garry. Kanan Song dropped him and hurt him, but Kanan Song is a very,
him being undefeated, man. Is he really undefeated? But the biggest story from this fight, I think, is they both got stories of beating the other person in training. Because Shavkat came out like a year ago and he was like saying, I dominated Ian Garry in training. And then Ian Garry, he's saying, I have outstruck Shavkat in training.
And that don't mean that, because when you sparring, the goal is not to knock somebody out. We know in a real fight, Shavkat is more likely to knock somebody out or drop them and submit them. And Ian Garry is more likely to point fight somebody. So I can see a world where that sparring and Ian Garry is able to dance around for however many rounds. But in a real fight, when you're talking about somebody who got a 100% finishing rate, Shavkat still got that 100% finishing rate, huh?
Absolutely.
I mean, he can't go out there and do that to Ian Garry in sparring. You know what I mean? Like, he can't go out there and put him down like that. But
from what I heard, he did, though. Well, there's definitely stories of Shavkat embarrassing Ian Garry. I don't know. It was more likely submissions and stuff, man. But, I mean, they're both confident, man. Something happened during training. I hope more of this comes out so we can hear about it.
Yeah, to see some footage or something. Now, I'm glad they made this fight because Ian, like I said, he was getting away beating people who had certain holes in their games. And it was kind of like the Kobe route, right? The Kobe Covington route, where all the dangerous people fight each other, and then Kobe would just kind of pick the low-hanging fruit from those guys and then beat them and say, I deserve a title fight. And it's like, no, you got to fight these dangerous guys as well, man. So now Ian Garry fighting Shavkat is good because now we get to get a lot of questions answered about how good is Ian Garry.
And how good is Shavkat, too. It's both ways.
And this should be a 5-round fight, huh?
I hope it is.
Because 3 rounds might not necessarily be enough, and we might not even see 3 rounds more than likely. Because going off the MVP fight, Ian, he fall back on the wrestling, and the wrestling just not going to be enough.
I think Shavkat would have finished MVP.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it does get interesting if Shavkat is not able to impose his will on Ian Garry. You get what I'm saying? Like, it does get interesting if this fight goes a distance and Ian Garry can use his distance and his range. He has a style that actually works. We would want to see Ian Garry get more aggressive on the feet and take more chances, but he got like almost like a boring style
that's perfect
that
for
can
the
win
UFC.
and that can win a decision. And it might not be the most exciting at times, man, but I can see a world to where this fight is closer than what we expected, and Ian Garry walks away with a decision. If we were talking about Jack Della versus Ian Garry, I think Jack would destroy Ian Garry stylistically. But Shavkat don't fight like that, man. He's real patient on the feet. That's not how you beat Ian Garry. You're going to have to go and get Ian Garry.
But chasing him being aggressive also has not been the formula either. Well, these guys just didn't do it right.
Who didn't do it? Because even Jeff Neal, he'll walk forward and then he'll stop, he'll reset. And then he'll walk forward, then he'll stop. And it's like, bro, what are you doing? I don't know, man. This is a tough one right here. I think there was a world where Ian Garry can win.
This fight going to eventually hit the ground.
You think so?
This fight going to hit the ground, bro. Look at what happened with Ian. He had to try to get the fight to the ground with MVP. The reality is Shavkat got enough power to where he's going to hurt Ian. And at some point, Ian, he ain't going to be able to wrestle.
This fight comes down to this, man. Who has an easier game plan? Who has an easier path to victory? I think Ian Garry do. This is his path to victory because he's tall. He's 6'3", and he has long arms. Run around like he doing his fight.
He struggled against Jeff Neal, and then he got outstruck by MVP, which I know is a different style of striking.
If he has a chance if he can stuff Shavkat's takedowns. That's what I'm saying. If there was a world where Shavkat can't take him down, because we have seen Shavkat struggle taking opponents down in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's not like his wrestling is like Kamzat to where every person Kamzat fight against, he takes him down. You know what I'm saying? We've seen Shavkat struggle. I know Jeff Neal got 90% takedown defense, and he got some of the greatest takedown defense in UFC history. You know what I'm saying? But I think there is a world.
And another thing is, Shavkat even showed that he can go and still be dangerous in the third round in that Jeff Neal fight, because he did finish Jeff Neal also.
Yes.
And he had a more competitive fight with Jeff Neal. I mean, not competitive, but Jeff, he had better moments. No, I don't know. That's hard to say. He had good moments in both fights. They just came up short. Yeah. It's just he got finished in the Shavkat one. And that just kind of shows, man, because if there's opportunities to end the fight, Shavkat's going to go for it. And Ian has to try to fight perfectly for 15 or 25 minutes, depending on how long the fight is. But my biggest takeaway from the fight is I'm glad that they made it, because for a long time, Ian been telling us that he's going to be the next Conor McGregor, which he can never be the next Conor McGregor. It's just not there.
You can argue he's the opposite of Conor McGregor.
Yeah, he's the anti-Conor McGregor.
Cringy.
Everything just seems not genuine. It's weird. Then you factor in the other stuff, the outside non-fighting stuff that is connected to his name. It's all weird. But for the longest time, when they was asking him about fighting Shavkat, oh, I can't fight Shavkat, I train with him. Okay, what about Kamaru Usman? Oh, no, I train with him. Or what about Leon Edwards? Oh, I train with him too.
What about Dana White? Oh, I train with him either.
Bro, you can't train with all the top contenders, and then when it's time to make those fights, you try to, I train with them so I can't fight with them your way out of that fight. Nah, man, you got to make that fight happen, bro. Like, what are you doing? So I'm glad that he's actually fighting one of these guys. Everybody was excited for Buck versus Cook. Oh, I thought Joaquin was gonna smoke him. I thought Joaquin was gonna smoke him, but Buck versus Cook, it ain't happening. At least not now, but it could happen. But I think this is a real good fight, man. Then we got Ciryl Gane and Volkov. This might look like a different fight from the first one, man. Volkov looked like we getting a good version of him as of late. So this could be very different, man, especially if he start actually incorporating some grappling, because he'll have it every now and then.
Especially after the Jon Jones fight. This fight is perfect because of the timing. This is right after UFC 309, and we seen what Jon Jones just did. And
so if you're a heavyweight and you're number 2 and 3,
because the thing is, Ciryl Gane, I don't think he would get beat on the feet against Jon Jones, man. He would have to get taken down. I would rather see Ciryl Gane and Jon Jones rematch than Volkov versus Jon Jones. I can see Jon literally dancing around him, dancing in circles. But like I say, I mean, Volkov been on tear, and even against Tom Aspinall, he had moments against Tom. Tom had to take the fight to the ground. You know, so the thing is, he's been beating people, but you gotta understand the heavyweight division, man. Like,
it don't take one punch.
Not even that, but certain guys, man. Like you said, we got people, the top 4, the top 5, and you got everybody else.
And then you got everybody.
So you beating one of the other people that's outside top 5.
Yeah. It
don't really weigh as much. Beating Marcin Tybura, I'm not saying he beat him, but beating like Tuivasa and them guys, man, they don't mean a lot. Yeah, he's still on a win streak, man. And this fight is actually a big fight, man, because the winner of this fight probably gonna end up fighting Tom, more than likely, for the actual heavyweight belt. That's probably what's gonna end up happening. That's why the magnitude of this fight is so large, because of title implications in this.
Yeah, and I hope they market it like that and get people excited, because this is gonna be a good fight.
And Ciryl Gane, man, you gotta get finished too, bro. Like all this dancing around stuff, bro. If you don't get it finished, you don't count.
Especially the way Jon beating people is like.
Is this a 5-round fight though?
I was gonna do the same thing. All these, the last 3 fights, the featured fight, the co-main, and the main, all need to be 5 rounds. But then we got the second fight of the main card is Bryce Mitchell getting a tune-up fight against Kron Gracie.
Oh, God.
My first thought was they probably doing Bryce a solid since he took the Josh Emmett fight on short notice and got absolutely smoked. So they probably doing him a favor, man, because we'll be lucky if Kron Gracie throw 5 punches the whole fight. It's like the Paul Craig fights. But then we got Nate Landwehr. Is that how you say his name? We got Nate.
That's how we gonna say it.
Yeah, we got Nate Landwehr fighting Choi Duho.
Is that the dude that fought Jeremy Stevens? Oh, I got him messed up with somebody else. Boy, Jeremy Stevens almost caught a body that fight, huh? Oh my God, man.
Snatched the soul.
Yeah, man. This gonna be exciting. This obviously gonna be the fight of the night.
Yo, you gotta love Nate Landwehr, boy. You talk about some good post-fight interviews. That's gonna be so funny, man. Then before that, we got Movsar and Aljamain. This fight is cool, but this is another one of those fights where it's gonna be boring and it's gonna make Aljo stock look so bad. He taking these fights, bro, with these people with great takedown defense, and they gotta win a certain type of way, and then Aljo has to win a certain type of way. And if Aljo get to the point where he just not knocking people out, bro, or at least having some type of threat where you can hurt him and then submit him, like, it's not good enough to just try to take people down no more. Like, you getting to the point where, bro, you fighting Movsar, and Movsar got one way to win. Aljo, you have seemingly one way to win. The backpack thing, bruh. This is like when an immovable object meet an immovable object, not even an unstoppable force, because both of y'all gotta fight a certain type of way. A brick wall facing a brick wall. Something gotta happen. Somebody gotta be the hammer here. Somebody gotta be Sledgehammer. So
speaking of hammers, you got Dominick Reyes versus Anthony Smith. And somebody's gonna get hammered.
Dude, to say Anthony Smith, he's such a good analyst, man, up until recent times. He got some of the worst takes I've ever seen, and it almost seemed like everything he said come from a personal point. When he was fighting Roman Delise on short notice at the press conference, he was saying how other fighters are jealous about how much money he makes and stuff, just going off the rails. Some journalist was like, do people care about that? Do people talk about that? He was like, yeah, everybody talks about it. I'm like, dude, what? It's like his mind, bro. And when he said John Jones is not that good, if you look at everything individually, he's only good when you put everything together. I'm like, dude, it's called mixed martial arts. That's the whole point.
What area are you better than John Jones at?
Analyst. But you got Dominick Reyes.
What area are you better than John Jones at?
Hey, only one of y'all is better, the other one is bitter. So, bittersweet. I think if Anthony Smith could be in Marvel and he could go back and change the timeline, he would have took that disqualification. He would have took that disqualification and shook up the whole light heavyweight division, and John would have had that disqualification loss.
Another one. It
wouldn't have been crazy if John had 2 disqualification losses, bro, his whole record. It almost happened.
Them losses piling up. 20 losses, bro.
Man,
38.
Anthony is so much better than that, bro, but so much better than that.
Better or better?
Both. It's crazy because I used to respect his opinion so much, and now I'm like, dude, I gotta change the video when you come up on the screen, bro, because I know you're finna say something outlandish. You're saying outlandish things, bro.
Why when he fight, it be looking like he ain't got no way of winning? Because normally, like, something happened. No, but I'm saying years ago, he was knocking people out. He was submitting people.
Well, you go back and look at the people he beat. Hector Lombard into his career. Rashad Evers into his career. Shogun in his career. I liked watching all those people, so I knew those people were at the end of their career. So a part of me was like, okay, we got a new, young, hungry lion. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but man, this ain't the Rashad from 5 years ago. This ain't the Shogun from 5 years ago. And this ain't the Hector Lombard who don't have to take a drug test. So we're not talking about the same 3 type of fighters here.
Hey, Anthony Smith, he found a new way of winning against Ryan Spann. Take a lot of damage, then get hurt, and win a decision.
Absorb all the significant strikes and win.
I guess that works, man. So I guess he can incorporate that against Dominick Reyes.
It's just so crazy, man. And
it's sad, man, because Anthony Smith used to be my favorite fighter, man.
Bro, that was your favorite fighter. You always had a path where if Anthony could just win here, he could fight for the title. And I just never saw it at a certain point. But you were supporting him, but it's gotten to the point where it's like, hey, man, it's almost like right now it's hard to support Jamal Hill. But that's a whole nother video.
Anthony Smith is the Paul Pierce of MMA. LeBron James not in the top 10.
I'm better than LeBron. It's like, didn't he beat you to go on and win a championship? Didn't LeBron beat them to?
Yeah, he beat LeBron. LeBron beat him.
So it's like, okay. But then, back on track, we got Dominick Reyes who finally got a win. Yeah, we got a short where I said that Dustin Jacoby could not beat Dominick Reyes, but Dominick actually ended up knocking him out. But we made that short. Dustin wasn't on a losing streak and getting knocked out. I think the only fight he had lost, he had got robbed against Khalil Roundtree. If I'll be honest, Dustin won that fight. But then things just went downhill, and Dominick, it was a good win for him, but Dominick looked awesome in that fight. Then we got Randy Brown and Bryan battle. That's actually a nice little fight right there, man. Randy got to get past his hurdle, because this is the type of fight that Randy, you would think that he should win, but Bryan been on one lately, man. I can see a world where Bryan knock him out.
It's weird, man. They kind of cancel each other out because Bryan battles struggle with distance sometimes, and he walks forward, and sometimes he can't really cut his opponent off at times. But then Randy, he's great on the outside, but sometimes he's not as aggressive as he should.
And sometimes he make bonehead decisions, and he have mental lapses that result in him winning up until he make one decision where then it results in him losing. And so you just never know what you're gonna get. You don't know what to expect from a Randy Brown fight until you look at the results. I mean, we got Cody Durden, Joshua Van. Didn't Joshua get robbed in his last fight? Oh, Joshua Kuba. Okay, and then we got Clay Guida still in the thing against Chase Hooper. We got Michael Chiesa on the.
Clay fights only be exciting because he be getting hurt, and it's like, is his chin gonna hold up?
Yeah, but let other people tell it's because his offense, his tenacity is there, man. His toughness, but he did a lot of damage, man. Hey, and Chase Hooper hands been looking nice lately too, man. We got Michael Chiesa and Max Griffin.
Michael came a long way, man. The first fight on the card, I think it's out of order though. I think it's pretty out of order.
Well, it could be because
they're so far away.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. Other than that, I don't really see nothing else really upcoming, man. So
and it's weird because Max hard to finish and Michael is a finisher. And Max, sometimes his fights don't be exciting. They be real close. And
he got out of his 6 or 7 losses, like 5 of them are split decisions that you could argue he won. It's so odd, man, that somebody got that many losses and a majority of their losses are split decisions. That let you know something about the way you fighting is not judge friendly.
But the last person named Michael, he fought, he got beat. Michael Morales.
Oh yeah, that's a tough fight. Most people lost it. You got Vicente fighting Themba Gorimbo. At first it was gonna be Nick Diaz, but then last week a video came out of Nick Diaz trying to light a piece of grass on fire outside of some establishment, and within like a day or two of that film getting released, and I'm not kidding, they scrapped that fight with Vicente.
Yeah,
and which honestly,
there was some other stuff going on too. I heard he was scamming. Allegedly, he was scamming people, man. Like they were paying money to see him live, and he wasn't honoring what he said he was going to do. A lot of people came out and said, I pay him this amount of money, and he never was able to see me on live.
Yeah, so hopefully whatever's going on in his personal life, he can get some help, man, if things are
that fight wasn't exciting anyway. That fight would have been better 5 years ago.
Man, Vicente would have caught a body. Because at least in Vicente's losses, the Jeff Neal fight was tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Vicente had some tough fight. He didn't win them, but like the Wonder Boy fight was tough. He was winning. And then he just ended up losing that 3rd round. But Nick ain't look good in a while. Themba Gorimbo coming off a win recently. I think he won a decision a few weeks ago. Yeah, he won.
Beating Nico Price don't really mean, it don't really equate to a lot, man. And then we got Chris Weidman and Eric. They moved the Eric Anders fight. Somebody pulled out at UFC 309, and
so that fight, it was gonna be on 309, but it's
yes. I think Eric pulled out the day before. That was some blood. I think this fight added.
This fight might be added. Kennedy and Jekyll fighting Lucas Bresky.
And Kennedy looked phenomenal his first fight in the heavyweight division, man.
Well, that dude injured himself in the intros.
Yeah, the fight was going to be.
We know
Chris, man.
We know what was going to happen anyway.
Chris, man.
But it looked like they're giving Kennedy another fight he probably should win. They seem to like him, and they give him fights that kind of help him get a significant amount of wins and get some momentum. Heavyweight could use some fresh faces, so we'll see if he can be something and be a contender in the heavyweight division. It's not going to be nearly as difficult as the light heavyweight division. I'll tell you that. Those guys should be pretty beatable up until a certain level.
Who was Kennedy's last loss? Was it Carlos?
Click on no, somebody. What's your boy name? They got knocked out by Dominick Reyes. Dustin knocked him out.
Yeah, but he was on a win streak though.
Yeah.